What is up, you amazing people? It is Nima, and today we got a pretty busy show for you. We're going to be talking about a Bethesda classic that's been rumored to get a remake for a very long time and might just shadow drop next week. We're also going to talk about a game called The Black Withink, where I'm going to show you guys some gameplay, give you my thoughts, and give you my full review on it. But first, we're going to start off with that really informative, in-depth direct that was for Mario Kart World today. Okay, being a little facetious there, but anyway, before we start this show, please hit that like and subscribe button, help the channel grow. It really costs you absolutely nothing to, like, share, subscribe, any of that stuff, and like it really helps me out. But anyway, let's start off with this Mario Kart World Direct, which I know a number of Nintendo fans and people in general are just not happy with it. And I think there's some justification for the anger around the Direct. And I think mainly it's because people were expecting them to justify that $80 price tag, and they really didn't. Their justification was, well, because we can get it out of you. I mean, that's pretty much it. And I even said, before, if they charge $80 and there is no DLC, there is no really anything else to it besides the fact that they can get it, that I would have a problem with it, and I do. I really do. They didn't show anything more than the fact that this is a really, really big, expansive game, and I do think it's going to be fun. I will, I'm sure, do my best to get it at launch and everything else. I'll probably be playing a lot of it, I'm sure. It looks really cool, but I don't like the idea that they're already pushing that price ahead, and I really don't like how the gaming industry in general is just sort of going back and forth between, well, we can put a game at 50 or 60, but up to 100 is kind of acceptable, or at least becoming on that level. And I will say, though, that the Direct in general, for me, I thought was impressive. I really was surprised by just the open worldness of the game. And if you were curious, yes, open worldness is a word. But no, it doesn't seem to be any loading screens, and it does seem to be just this massive, massive game that you pretty much have free roam in if you want to. There's a bunch of different modes, different race styles, and I even like the idea that you can take teams. So if someone like myself who has two younger kids and I don't want to just beat up on them all day, I can have them as part of my team and we can race against computer-controlled teams, and so I do like that aspect. I'm still curious about some of the other things that they had brought up. There's specific challenges that you can find in free roam, as well as coins and stuff, but they never really explain what those do, why you care about having them. I do have a feeling that that is going to open up more for the game. Going through actual courses, though, is I did pause at some point. They do show the entire world map and they show the courses. There really isn't that many courses, not as much as you would think. There's plenty, there is, sure, but you can tell that there is enough room for more, and I bet you we're all going to be paying for that. So $80 is probably going to turn into at least $100, and I don't know, man. It just gets to a point where, on principle alone, I think we have to wonder, okay, when is that level of saying, nah, I'm not doing that? And I don't think it's going to be Mario Kart World. I don't. I think it's going to sell really well. I think GTA 6 is also going to be in that $100 to maybe even $120, depending on, collector's editions and whatever, and I still think that's going to sell like hotcakes. But I can guarantee you there will be a game that overprices itself and it will just flop. But ultimately, I think the other big thing people were upset by is just no information. One of the big rumors leading into this Direct was that they will announce a pre-order date for the Switch 2 and possibly Mario Kart World, or, you could maybe decipher a pre-order date for the Switch 2 through a pre-order date for Mario Kart World, but we didn't get any of that. And I think a number of people were expecting it to be in the show because it's been rumored that the pre-order date is going to be the 21st here in America. Canada also sort of got their pre-order date being the 23rd, and then the other rumor going around is that it would be the 30th for America. And so we were expecting some sort of information in this Direct, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be. So I'm guessing it's going to end up being the 23rd, the same day as Canada, but I guess we'll find out on that. Because next week is going to be an incredibly busy week. I know one of the games that I pre-ordered already, Expedition 33, I know it has a different name than that, but I already pre-ordered that. I'm excited for that to drop. We might find out about this Switch 2 pre-order, and we might get a surprise shadow drop, a remastered version of Oblivion, which honestly I'm super hyped for. I've actually even wanted to go back into Skyrim recently, and just discovering that, hey, this remaster, the whole rumor on it dropping soon has some teeth to it, and it seems like even more than that. There's a number of different insiders, and even I think some of the developers have posted screenshots comparing the 2006 version and this new version, as well as a lot of hints about it dropping soon, including like going and asking Microsoft support when it's gonna happen, and they've said the 21st, if I remember it. I don't know, I'll try to find that image and pop it up here. But again, I'm super excited for it. I think the thing that I'm the most concerned about, aside from some of the graphics, not the graphics, more the color looks a little muted. I don't know. I'm concerned with that a little bit, I suppose, but the bigger thing I'm more concerned about is the price. I think this game could easily garner full price, a $70 title, but man, I hope they don't. Honestly, I really hope it falls into like that $50 or $60 range, but I don't know. We'll find out. I'm sure they're going to get 70 out of it, and a number of people are probably going to check it out. I have to say for myself, it'll probably be something that I actually go through on Game Pass, because I'm not rich, and we're definitely in it when it comes to video games and all of them dropping, and trying to save our collective nut for GTA 6 and whatever Switch 2 games come out. There's to be a very expensive year on top of what is, well, honestly, economically, a really crappy year. So yeah, a lot going on. Gonna definitely be using the Game Pass quite a bit. Finally, I want to talk about a game that I've been lucky enough to be able to review. Gotta shout out a big thank you to the publishers of this game, and this is a game called The Black Within. It is a psychological horror game that can be played in about an hour. Set at $5.99. This is a game that, yeah, you can easily play in one sitting, as you play as Layla Rose, a 38-year-old singer who just never really got there. She decides to make a deal with the devil for fame and fortune and all of those things that she's been chasing. Unfortunately, she ends up opening a little bit more than what she realized, as throughout this entire experience, she's commanded to do a few things: go to her boss's house, find a contract, sign it, perform a ritual. At the same time, she's being haunted, if you will, by mysterious, shadowy figures, things flying around poltergeist style, a number of jump scares that I think are cleverly put into the game. I will say though, I enjoyed this game because I didn't take it too serious. There are moments where you're not sure if it's just like something that needs to be patched or fixed, or if the game is just trying to be creepy like that. It's hard to explain, but there's certain moments where you'll walk on certain things and they'll just cause you to spin, which is kind of funny, honestly. Or the fact that there'll be things flying around like in your boss's house, and as Layla, you try to touch something, you're like, oh, I shouldn't mess up my boss's stuff. But it's like, yeah, meanwhile his TV just flew across the room, like that kind of thing where it's a little silly, and she doesn't really tend to react to some of these things, like the shadowy figures or different objects just disappearing or being broken when she leaves a room and comes back into it. But again, I don't know too if you're supposed to be the one seeing it and that she's not seeing it, which is highly possible. On that note though, I will say that the voice acting in this game is phenomenal. Paired with some really good like environmental sounds as well. I think that's probably the shining star for me. That's where you can say graphically the game actually looked pretty good, but it was the audio that really hit hard. Like I said, when it specifically comes to the voice acting and the ambience and the sounds, like sound effects and things. I will say though, picking up items does kind of sound kind of funny. I've heard it described as it sounds like somebody's eating something, and honestly it kind of does. Like, I get that. It's still fine though, and it's like nothing that ruins the game or anything. But ultimately, I just say for $5.99, an hour-long experience in this kind of psychological horror world, it's fun. I really enjoyed myself, and if I was gonna give this game a number score, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Really good time. When you get a chance to check it out, definitely think about checking it out. There is more I want to talk about, but I can't because the game is so short already. I don't want to ruin anything else, but there's some moments that both go on the I'm curious what you would think about it, but also like kind of humorous aspect. I don't know. But regardless, definitely a game that's worthy of your time. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Please let me know what your thoughts are on any of the stories or the Black Within. Anything down below. We're trying to get these shows out like once every other day. I was doing every day last week, but I noticed that maybe I was making too much content because the views weren't really catching up. So we're trying to find a perfect balance of doing this new format, which I really enjoy. It gives me an opportunity to kind of catch up on the news and then at the same time cover games, specifically when we do have games like this where I don't really have much longer than a few minutes to talk about it because they're on the shorter side, or maybe games that I'm not going to be able to get to for a long time, so I'll just do an impressions or a thoughts type video. But regardless, we are trying to do them every other day. We're getting that ironed out. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you guys so much for checking the channel out. I love each and every one of you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.